And my instructor never taught counters, and I generally don't either. Our reasoning behind it is that often, as soon as I start teaching a counter, people forget about what we're actually training, and they focus on the counter. So we're training counters to joint lock, to the wrist lock, and they never learn the wrist lock. They learn 20 counters to the wrist lock, right? So what we prefer is if you understand the thing, whether it's a lock or a throw or a disarm or a choke or whatever, then you understand its strengths and weaknesses, its fail points, what has to happen for it to work, which means you can find your own counters once you understand the thing, okay? So some guidelines, and these are my personal ones. I originally got this idea from Richard Bustillo, is look for first what's being threatened, right? Then what's threatening it, and then what has to happen for the threat to become realized, to become a damaging thing, right? If you can neutralize any of those three, you neutralize the thing, and that opens a window for a counter, okay? So we look at this wrist lock, what has to happen, well, you can do a single hand wrist lock, but you really have to know what you're doing. Most people need both hands to really make this functional, right? So if he reaches up with his other hand and doesn't even just grab my hand and pull it off, for 99.9% of the time, that is going to neutralize this, right? It's really that simple, okay? Now, that's not a counter. It just neutralizes this lock. But it can create, so now he's going to do the lock on me. It creates an opening for me to find my own counter, my own lock, right? So that's the first one. Or excuse me, that's, yeah, what's threatening. I neutralize what's threatening it, and this goes away. He has to really have a high understanding here to make this work, right? The second one is what's being threatened is my wrist, right? Or my structure, or my shoulder. I can look at it a lot of different ways. So he goes here, and if I can neutralize before he gets here, right, I can take my wrist out of the equation. So that neutralizes it. So I take what he's threatening out of the equation, right? Third is he has to take this way, lock up my structure. That has to happen, right? So as he goes to do that, I go, nope. And I just cut off that line, right? And now he has to work a lot hard. Really, this neutralizes the lock. Again, doesn't counter, but it gives me an opening where I can find my own lock or my own counter, right? So think in those terms, and you can take anything, even including a strike, but strikes are really, really simple in context. Because you're either there or you're not. You're either getting hit or you're not. So it's relatively it's simple to see the counters, but chokes, disarms, etc. You can apply these three sort of ideas to it and find your own counters. Are you okay? Yeah. So I started with each of these as individual counters. So he does sapudalam, inside front sweep. There we go. And I counter with outside back sweep. Then he sets me in outside back sweep. There we go. And then I counter with outside front sweep. He sets me inside front sweep, outside front sweep. Yep. There we go. Outside. There we go. He sets me there, and I'm going to shift into inside back sweep. Right? And he sets me in inside back sweep. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to open up, go to Puta Kapala. Then he does Puta Kapala, and I'm going to counter that, open up, pass it back to inside front sweep. Now we can chain that all together as one continuous counter for counter flow, right? So it's a sobrata with sweeps, right? So he does sapudalam, and I counter with satluar. He counters with sapular, so outside front sweep, outside front. I mean, yeah, there you go. No. That one, there, yes. He counters with outside front. Then I counter with inside back, right? And then he counters with Puta Kapala. I counter with inside front. and now we've changed roles back at the beginning. So now he counters with outside rear to set up noir. And then I counter with Sop Noir. He counters with the set dollar. You're already set up down here.
Keep your foot where
this. Your feet, step over to your right. Yeah, there we go. Right. Then I'm going to counter with Puder Kvala. He counters that. Back to Sop Dollar. And now we're back at the beginning. Okay. So that's the whole flow. And then I explained that over time this becomes freestyle. You can do any technical lessons you want, and you want to seek efficiency as you progress, right? So like, he gives me whatever, I don't care. So he gives me Sapudam. I could, like we did, go 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And that's perfectly fine, perfectly valid. But from Sapudam again, I want to, if I start looking for efficiency, minimizing my motion. So I'm just going to reach, shift my core and set, and then I've got Kinjikaki already, right? If I just drop my knee, he's going, right? Or I could use Kinjikaki to set up my own Sapudam, right? So you want to get more and more efficient as you go. And then you can add in other elements, right? So I might go, he puts me in Sapudam. So now instead of just going to the set noir, I'm going to add a strike, add a strike, add a strike, maybe add a lock, and then take my sweep, right? So I can add other elements into the mix. I can also mix and match however I want. You can go from any, in my background we call each of these things a technical essence, right? So you can go from any technical essence to any other technical essence, right? So I don't always have to go from Sapudam to Set Noir. I can go from Sapudam to Sapudam, or Sapudam to Sop Noir, Sapudam to Kenchisico, etc. He does Sapudam. Yes. And I go, I'm going to strike, and set my own Sapudam with a wrist lock, right? Yeah. But he counters this strike, right? And now I counter and I find something else, right? So you could turn it into, you could go from this into 149, and then back into this, right? So yeah, counters can always sort of bleed into each other, right? That's the beauty of it. Yeah. So, you know, if he, I'll give you Sapudam, right? So I go here, and now when as he switches and sets, he's going to open up and give me an angle 2, right? So I might go pop, pop, and now we're into this drill, right? It doesn't matter. And so we can play that drill for a little bit, then we can switch. I might, you know, as he comes back from this, go ahead, strike. I might go dunk, and now I'm back into my seal out stuff, right? I'm in a Kenjisico or Sop Noir, depending on how I take it, right? So we can go in and out. Ultimately, yeah, that's over. I mean, eventually you can play with anything you have within this sort of framework, or within this conceptual framework, anyway.